Finally, her parents, distressed by her failing health, relented. This gossip elicited sighs from the crowd. The capital is so far from here, but the mention of the name Mo Rong still brings the image of that woman to my mind. She also had the surname, a relatively uncommon name. I wonder how she's been all these years after I left so abruptly with only a text message and a check. I picked up a glass of champagne from the table, sipping it as I reminisced. Lost in thought, I was startled by a flash of orange fur as a small cat darted past. A waiter carrying a tray of drinks swerved to avoid the cat, but the drinks and glasses went flying toward a child chasing the animal. I instinctively shielded a nearby toddler, taking the spill on my expensive suit. The little one, clearly frightened, froze in my arms. The waiter, equally shocked by his blunder, stood there speechless. I told him to believe it wasn't entirely his fault. The child had been too engrossed in chasing the cat, and with so many people in the ballroom, small accidents were inevitable. "Are you all right?" I asked gently, looking down at the child. Good D, still frightened, remained motionless in my embrace. I took off my soaked jacket and lifted the adorable, bewildered child. "Come on, Uncle will take you to get some snacks," I said comfortingly, leading them toward the refreshments. I don't know why, but from the first moment I saw this child, I was captivated and felt a strange sense of familiarity. Watching the little one happily munching away, cheeks puffed out with food, a peculiar feeling stirred within me. "Dad, are you Daddy?" The child suddenly blurted out, nearly causing me to spit out my water. "What's your name, Uncle? Is seeing you for the first time? I think you've mistaken me for someone else," I explained patiently. "But you look just like Daddy in the photo," the child said, confused. Before I could inquire further, a young woman in a professional suit approached. People along the way tried to curry favor with her, but she remained undeterred, arriving quickly at my side. Just as I was about to speak, the little one in my arms exclaimed, "Inian, why are you here?" Gyu's words were muffled by the food in her mouth. The woman's gaze hadn't left the child since she arrived. "You scare me to death, sweetie. How could you run off without a word? Your mommy is frantic. Come on, and I will take you back to her." The child nestled in the woman's arms waved at me. "Bye-bye, Daddy, Uncle." The odd combination of titles gave me pause, but I waved back to the adorable child. The woman, however, had completely ignored me throughout the entire exchange, leaving me feeling rather perplexed. "Mommy, Mommy," the little one's voice sounded from behind. Morong turned around and saw a beautiful little dumpling constantly running toward her with those short little legs. "What's wrong running so fast?" Pressing her face against the baby's soft and bouncy cheeks, Morong pretended to be angry. Ganna didn't speak, but just buried her head in Morong. Rong's chest, seeing this, was also startled. "What is it, baby?" she asked, looking at the cute little dumpling who was not yet 3 years old. One could already faintly see her beautiful features and that chubby little face. Anyone who saw her would want to pinch it. At a young age, Jinu inherited all the best features of her mother, Rong, and her father. The two elders in the family doted on her to death. If you were to ask who this little dumpling was afraid of, it would be Rong. "Mommy, I want that uncle to be my daddy," the little one said seriously. "What uncle?" Rong was confused. She didn't expect her daughter to suddenly say something like that. The secretary beside her quickly explained everything that had happened in the hall. Rong's eyes shimmered with a different light after hearing it, but she still patiently explained to the little one that uncle is actually your daddy. "Mommy came back this time to take you to find him." "Really?" The baby's soft and tender voice came, melting everyone present. The little secretary beside her couldn't help but reach out and touch the baby's cheek. "From now on, the three of us will never be separated again," Morong said pleasantly. "Hey!" The little one was obviously very excited. She was about to find her daddy. After the little one left, I felt a hollow in my heart. I was in no mood to stay there any longer, so I grabbed my clothes and drove back to the Gu residence. I hadn't even had 2 days of peace at home before my mother started again. "You have to go this time, whether you want or not. I've already spoken to the Chung family. You can't let Miss Chung wait there alone, can you?" My mother looked at me, her good-for-nothing son slouching on the sofa, and said indignantly. Seeing my mother start up again, I felt a headache coming on. It seemed I couldn't avoid this one. The next day, I arrived at the restaurant my mother had mentioned. From afar, I saw the beautiful and sensible future daughter-in-law she had described. I put out the half-smoked cigarette in my hand and walked slowly towards the restaurant. In a Western restaurant by the window, a delicately made-up woman in an orange coat sat there sipping coffee leisurely. She looked at the handsome and unique man sitting opposite her. "You're Gu Qing," Chung Chin's elegant voice came. "Hello, Miss Chung," I replied indifferently. Just then, the restaurant door opened, and Jinu walked in holding Morong's hand. She kept chattering, "Mommy, hurry up. I'm hungry. I want a cake." A rare gentleness appeared on Morong's usually cold face. "Okay, baby, don't worry," she said. As she spoke, her gaze inadvertently fell on me, sitting at a table not far from them. But when her gaze swept over the woman opposite me, Morong's face turned cold at a speed visible to the naked eye. The little one naturally saw me too, shaking Morong's hand excitedly and saying, "Mommy, look, it's Daddy. Daddy's here for dinner too." The little one was clearly very excited. I looked at the young woman opposite me with her three-dimensional features. Features and delicate makeup, especially her eyes, which seemed to glow. No one understood that look better than she did. It was the look a woman had when she was deeply infatuated with a man, the same look she had once had. Since I had my back to her, Morong couldn't see my expression, but seeing the woman opposite me smiling so happily, she felt a pang of jealousy. "He really is a scumbag," she thought. Suddenly, an idea occurred to Morong, and she said to the little one beside her, "Good baby, haven't you always wanted to play with Daddy? You can go find him now. Don't forget to call him Daddy." Really, little Ninu was a little excited. She spoke again, "Then you and Daddy go eat. Mommy will wait for you at home." "But I want to go with Mommy," the little one said, clearly unhappy. "Mommy will be waiting for you at home." Only then did a smile return to the little one's face. She ran towards me with her short little legs. My attention was on the woman in front of me, thinking about how to find a chance to escape and also how to prevent her from reporting me to my mother. Just as I was racking my brains, I suddenly felt something hug my leg. Then in a soft voice, Ninu said, "Daddy, I want to eat steak." I was interrupted by this familiar voice and looked down to see the familiar little one. Clearly, Chunchin opposite me also noticed the little person who had suddenly appeared. Just as she was about to say, "Where did this child come from?" Did she recognize the wrong person? She saw me lift the little one from under the table and into my arms. Her first impression was that there was such a beautiful child in the world. So how beautiful must her parents be? Then, when she shifted her gaze from the little one to my face, Chunchin was stunned. They looked so alike. Combined with the little one calling me Daddy just now, she hadn't taken it seriously before, but now she had never heard of the Gu family's eldest grandson marrying, let alone having a child. Otherwise, Angu wouldn't have brought her here. Chunchin couldn't help but ask, "Would you believe me if I said I didn't know either?" I looked at the little one in my arms, who was acting very familiar, and felt quite helpless. "Daddy, I want meat." After a while, the waiter brought a fresh steak. I cut it for the little one, and she took the fork and ate happily. Chunchin looked strangely at the two of us interacting, especially since the little girl kept calling me Daddy, and they looked so much alike. "How did Nicha get here?" I asked, taking the opportunity to probe. The little one's big eyes rolled, and a cute voice came out, "Nina doesn't know either." Looking at the child's innocent appearance, I was very helpless and could only blame it on her careless parents. After dinner, I couldn't bear to leave the little one there, so I took her home with me. On the other side, at the lakeside pavilion villa, I asked, "Where is your mother?" The little one, drinking milk curiously, had been out for almost a whole day. Brents must be worried sick seeing that the little one who was drinking milk ignored me. I asked again, "If Mommy's not here, who will you sleep with at night?" "What, there's a big bad wolf outside?" I asked a 3-year-old. Unexpectedly, the little one was not afraid at all. She raised her small fist and said in a childish voice, "If Mommy's not here, I'll sleep with Daddy. Daddy will protect me, right?" Seeing how cute the little one was, I couldn't help but pinch her chubby little face. The more I looked at her, the more I liked her, and I felt a vague sense of familiarity. but I still patiently explained, Uncle can protect you. But why do you keep calling me Daddy? Mommy will be worried if you don't go home at night. It's okay. Mommy knows I'm with Daddy. The little one still wouldn't say anything about her mother. When I bathed her before bed, the little girl smelled of milk and faintly of a girl's fragrance. It smelled wonderful, but why did this also feel familiar? At this time, Jianu snuggled into my arms again, resting her head on my arm. President, is this really okay? The secretary asked worriedly when she found out that her president had left her child with a strange man. She was beyond shocked. It's fine if she wants to play. Let her play outside for a couple more days. Seeing her president's reply, the secretary was surprised. When the little one first went missing, the president was incredulous and panicked. As her personal secretary, she knew how much Morong loved her, but now Morong was allowing her biological daughter to stay at a strange man's house. This puzzled the secretary, but she didn't dare to disobey her president's orders. Not seeing the cute little one for these 2 days, she instantly felt down. You go pick her up tomorrow. If she wants to come back with you, then come back. If not, she can play for another 2 days. Hearing this, the secretary's face lit up. Wouldn't this be too much trouble for him? The secretary said uncertainly. Trouble? This is the responsibility he should bear. The scumbag Morong said abruptly and left, leaving the bewildered secretary behind. Early the next morning, there was an urgent matter at the company. I looked at the little one on the bed, dressing herself, and felt a bit helpless. After getting dressed, I held the child in one arm and the breakfast my assistant had bought in the other. I opened the car door, fastened the little one's seatbelt, handed her a steamed bun from the bag, and said, Uncle has something to do. I'll take you to a fun place and pick you up tonight, okay? Okay, Gooninu said cutely, munching on the bun. The car drove into the Gu family's old residence, and a housekeeper hurried to open the gate for me. My parents were both early risers. Seeing me back so early in the morning, my mother walked toward the car. Why are you back so early in the morning? My mother looked disgusted. I opened the car door and carried Gooninu, whose face was covered in oil, out of the car. I was first surprised to see me holding a child. Then, when she saw the child's unbelievably beautiful face, her eyes almost popped out. Will you play with Grandma today? Uncle will come pick you up tonight, I said to the little one in my arms. Ji-Hinu looked at the elegant lady opposite her after hearing my words and nodded. I put the little one down and then said to my mother, Please look after the child. I have something to do. I'll pick her up tonight. Seeing me about to leave after dropping off the child, my mother quickly stopped me. Isn't this your illegitimate child from outside? She looks just like you when you were little. Looking closely, she was even cuter than I was as a child. What are you talking about? I don't even have a wife. Where would a child come from? If you don't want to watch her, I'll take her with me. As I said this, I was about to pick up the little one, but my mother was quicker. She picked up Jianu first and said to me impatiently, Go ahead and do your work. Don't worry about the child. I was busy at the company all day and drove back to the Gu family home in the evening. As soon as I opened the door, I saw my parents sitting on the sofa, looking unhappy. Seeing me return, the housekeeper hurried to whisper in my ear, Young master, you're finally back. The old master and mistress have been like this ever since the little one was taken away. Hearing this, I had a bad feeling and was about to make a run for it when I heard the dreaded voice behind me. Come here. What's up, dear mother? I walked over with a playful smile. How did it go with Miss Chung? Sure enough, things were going downhill. Seeing that I didn't speak, my mother continued, If you were a little more responsible, I wouldn't be still waiting for a grandchild. You don't know how heartbroken I was when little Ninu was taken away. Early the next morning, I had an urgent matter at the company. Looking at the little one on the bed, struggling to put on her clothes, I felt a little helpless. Dressed, I held the child in one arm and the breakfast my assistant had bought in the other. I opened the car door, fastened the little one's seatbelt, and handed her the bag of steamed buns. Uncle has some work to do. I'll take you to a fun place and pick you up tonight. Okay. Okay. Jivinu mumbled through a mouthful of steamed bun. I drove to the Gu family's old residence, and the housekeeper hurried to open the gate. My parents, creatures of habit, were already up. See me back so early? My mother came towards the car. "Why are you back so early in the morning?" she asked, her face etched with disapproval. I opened the car door and carried Jianu, whose face was smeared with oil, out of the car. My mother was surprised to see me with a child and then stunned by her extraordinary beauty. Her eyes nearly popped out of her head. "Will you play with Grandma today? Uncle will pick you up tonight," I said to the little one in my arms. Jianu looked at the elegant lady in front of her and nodded. Inu said happily she didn't know why, but she felt very happy whenever she saw this uncle and couldn't help but want to be close to him. "Where's your mommy?" The little one turned her head in a daze and looked around blankly. Seeing her confused look, I had a rough idea of what had happened. "Shall Uncle take you to find Mommy?" "Okay." The little one happily hugged my neck and kissed my face. I don't know why, but the more I looked at the little one in my arms, the more I liked her. When _her returned after the call, she couldn't find the two of us. She took out her phone and was about to call her secretary when she saw the secretary hurrying towards her with ice cream in hand. "Not far away, President _, have you seen Inu?" She disappeared while I was buying ice cream. The secretary said anxiously. Murong Shun knew her daughter was very well-behaved and wouldn't normally run off in this situation. "Don't worry, you check the mall surveillance footage. I'll look for her nearby." Although she was panicking, _, forced herself to stay calm. The two split up, but the mall was so big and crowded that it wasn't easy to find someone. After walking around for a long time, Murong Shun's feet were numb and her heart grew even more anxious. This was the crystallization of her love with that person and also her most beloved daughter. Nothing could happen to her. Just as _, Shun was about to break down, a sweet voice called out, "Mommy!" Murong Shun turned around in surprise and saw two figures, one big and one small, walking towards her. The little one ran quickly towards her. Looking at the delicate and familiar face, I was momentarily stunned. Memories from years ago flooded back. This little one was her daughter. No wonder there was a sense of familiarity. I don't know why, but the thought of it left a strange taste in my mouth. "Mommy, what's wrong?" "Look, this uncle bought me ice cream," she said, licking the ice cream. Looking at the happy mother and daughter, I felt a pang of bitterness in my heart, but I still offered my congratulations. "Long time no see. Your daughter is very cute. Now that you're a mother, don't be as careless as you used to be. What's wrong? Weren't you quite tough when you left after sleeping with me? Why are you so cowardly now?" Murong Shun said angrily, seeing that I was about to leave. "Who is the child's father?" I blurted out. "I don't know why. Come here, and I'll tell you." "Underthinker," said slightly. "What? You wouldn't dare, would you?" Seeing that I was still standing there, Murong added fuel to the fire. Murong walked towards me, brought her cherry lips close to my ear, and whispered, "This is your daughter. You abandoned us and ran away. I'm going to punish you." She then bit my earlobe. The pain made me gasp. Back home, _, Shun walked into the living room and watched the father and daughter playing happily on the sofa. Her gaze finally settled on my familiar face, lost in thought. A faint blush crept onto her delicate pink cheeks, retrieving a uniquely shaped bottle of Biggio. From the corner of the liquor cabinet, she opened the cap, took a deliberate sniff, and then replaced it with a satisfied expression. Next, she grabbed the carton of her daughter's favorite juice from the refrigerator and mixed the two together. Carrying the glass, she walked towards us. "You've worked hard, honey. Have some juice." Murong handed me the drink. Ganu, seeing this, quickly reached out. "Mommy, I want some too." Murong deftly pulled the glass back and placed it in my hand. "Daddy hasn't tried this juice yet. Let Daddy try it first, and Mommy will get you some later." As she said this, Murong blinked her large eyes expectantly, waiting for me to drink. Her gaze made me uncomfortable. I took a symbolic sip. The initial taste was a burst of fruity sweetness, followed by an indescribable flavor. Seeing me only take a small sip, _, snatched the glass back and took a large gulp. Then her beautiful face loomed closer, and her soft lips pressed against mine with a strange taste in my mouth. I finally realized what was happening. Murong slowly straightened up and finished the remaining liquid. By then, I also felt something was amiss. A strange heat began to spread through my lower abdomen. "What did you give me to drink?" I asked. "Something good, naturally," Shu replied. Slightly after getting up, she called to her assistant, whispering something I couldn't hear. Returning, she took Ji-Nu from my arms. "How about sleeping with Anand tonight?" Mo-Rong-shu coaxed the little girl. "But I want to sleep with Daddy," the little one said, sounding unhappy. "But Mommy and Daddy need to make a little brother for Ninu," Mo-Rong continued to persuade. Ji-Yu's eyes lit up, and she nodded eagerly. After the little one was sent away, the woman took a shower and changed into a lacy camisole. "Tonight," she said, "you're not getting away." A few days later, at the Gu family's old residence, I was reminded, well, regardless, you have to win this bid against the __ family for me. It's not like our Gu family needs this small amount, but for some reason, the __ family has been targeting us these past 2 years. Your father went to inquire about the reason, and they said it was you who caused it. Mother Gu said irritably. How could this be blamed on me? I looked at the elegant lady before me speechlessly. Well, it actually was my fault. Why wouldn't it be your fault? Otherwise, why haven't I even seen the shadow of my grandchild at this age? Mother Gu appeared indignant. Under the pressure from my mother, I was forced to attend some bidding meeting at the Qingqing Center, building 19th floor. __ CH sat bored in front of her computer, staring at the wallpaper. The wallpaper was a photo taken during our college days when I was, well, her sugar daddy. We were on a trip, and, at her insistence, we took this picture. In the photo, a tall, handsome man held a trekking pole while a petite woman nestled in his arms, gazing at him affectionately. President, the bidding meeting is about to start, her secretary said from the side. All right, I know it's so boring to face those old fogies every day. Mo-Rong-shu lingered in her office, reluctant to go. Inu, who was happily munching on a small cupcake on the sofa, suddenly seemed to sense something. Her eyes met her mother's, and Mo-Rong-shu instantly felt a surge of annoyance. How many sweets have you eaten today? Do you still want your little teeth? Mo-Rong-shu pretended to scold her angrily. The little one was spoiled rotten by her grandfather at home, and she was also the crystallization of her love with that man, although he didn't know of his daughter's existence. Mo-Rong-shu doted on her immensely. Okay, Mommy, I won't eat anymore, the little dumpling said in a sweet, childish voice. Mo-Rong-shu walked over and kissed her daughter's rosy cheeks. I'll play here with Annie. Mommy's going downstairs for a meeting. She kissed Inu's face again as she spoke. President, this is the list of participants for the bidding meeting. The secretary respectfully handed over the document. When she saw the contents, Mo-Rong's pupils suddenly contracted. She tossed the document to her assistant and hurried downstairs. Entering the conference room, Mo-Rong-shu's gaze immediately locked onto me. The other participants in the conference room were all on high alert, sitting upright and prepared, while I lounged in a chair, looking completely relaxed. Mr. Gu, putting on quite the airs, aren't we? A disharmonious voice came from the side. I turned to see the guy I recognized, the young master of the Zhang family from the capital. I thought I was already quite the mess, but compared to this guy, I was small fry. What's more, this guy was head over heels for Miss __, chasing her all the way from the capital. I turned my head away, not wanting to talk to this lovesick fool. Seeing himself ignored, Zhang Ting looked displeased, but this wasn't the time for an outburst. For some reason, the Mo-Rong family had been at odds with the Gu family all these years, and that alone was enough for Guing to endure. Just then, the conference room door opened, and Mo-Rong-shu entered, wearing professional attire that accentuated her curvaceous figure. Her secretary followed behind her. Mo-Rong-shu walked to the front with a powerful aura and pulled out a chair to sit. The secretary began the presentation for the bidding meeting. Time passed slowly, and when the secretary finally read the last word on the sheet, the room fell silent. Mo-Rong-shu, sitting at the front, casually played with the pen in her hand. Sitting to the side, I noticed the familiar pen she was fiddling with and had a bad feeling. Mr. Gu, I believe the Gu family has a more sincere offer, don't you think? The young woman's slightly mature face revealed a sly, fox-like expression. Seeing this, I resignedly said, the Gu group won't charge a single point this time. As my voice fell, Silence descended upon the room. Then came Jiang Ting's exasperated voice. "Gu, are you crazy?" Not charging a single point. Before he could continue, the conference room door was pushed open and a small figure appeared. Mommy Gu's adorable appearance made Mong's heart melt. She reached out and held her in her arms. "What's wrong, sweetie?" "I want Mommy." Jinu nuzzled her face against Morong's neck. The expressions of everyone present varied, especially Jiang Ting's when he saw Jinu. It was well known in the capital that the Morong family's only daughter had a child out of wedlock, but there was nothing anyone could do as she was the daughter of the capital's richest man. Even if she had a child, after a while, Ginsu finally climbed out of Morong's arms. The moment she saw me, her face lit up with joy and she said in an adorable voice, "Daddy, hug." I reached out and picked up my daughter. "Come on, Daddy will take you out to play," I said as I stood up and walked towards the door, leaving behind a room full of shocked faces. Ever since the two at home found out that Jinu was the daughter I had bore 3 years ago, life at home had been anything but peaceful. "No matter what method you use, you must bring my granddaughter back," Mother Goose said with a look of exasperation. Even my usually composed father chimed in. "The Gu family bloodline cannot be left outside. If your granddaughter doesn't come back, neither do you." Just like that, I was kicked out of the house. Looking at my current situation, it seemed I wouldn't be able to return unless I brought both mother and daughter back with me. I found that long-lost phone number in my contacts and dialed. The call connected quickly. After I explained my reason for calling, Morong Shu responded curtly, "If you want to see your daughter, come to Zangshan Villa tonight. I'll be waiting." A strange glint appeared in Morong Shu's somewhat sickly face. After finishing her sentence, she hung up, not forgetting to glance at the photo of her daughter on her phone's lock screen. I was caught between a rock and a hard place. Remembering my parents' pleas before I left home, I felt a headache coming on. It seemed I had no choice. That night at Shanshan Villa, looking at the familiar surroundings, I couldn't help but feel a wave of emotion. I had bought this villa when I was in university. It was very close to the campus. After Morong and I got together, we lived here. After we separated, the villa was transferred to her name as compensation. I stepped inside. The familiar decor was exactly the same as it was 3 years ago when I left. Memories flooded back, and Morong Shu's face gradually formed in my mind. Back then, I didn't know she was the daughter of the Morong family. I would visit her when I was happy and ignore her when I wasn't. "Would you like a drink?" Morong walked over with 2 glasses of red wine. "No," I replied, knowing my limits. "Where's my daughter?" I hadn't forgotten my purpose. My question was met with a dissatisfied look from Morong. "Drink this glass of wine and I'll tell you," she said, her beautiful face full of allure. Looking at the wine, my eyes flickered unpleasantly. Images flashed through my mind. Seeing my hesitation, Mong seemed amused, raising a delicate eyebrow, urging me to take the glass. "I'll drink yours," I said, taking the glass she had sipped from and drinking it all in one gulp. She seemed surprised, her delicate eyebrow arching, but only for a moment. She quickly recovered and drank the other glass of wine. "Now can I have my daughter?" I asked. "Always talking about your daughter. Where were you when I was pregnant? You wouldn't even have seen her if it weren't for me. So shouldn't you be showing me some love?" Soon I felt something was wrong. "You're pretty ruthless, drugging yourself too. You've learned a few tricks in these past few years," I said, a mixture of exasperation and admiration in my voice. Morong Shu's cheeks flushed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. As I stood up to leave, she reached out and hooked her slender white foot around my neck. "Be good, lie down and sleep." A magnetic voice came from behind me. "Honey," Ninu said she wants a little brother. Schwepp heard her eyes gleaming scarlet, looking at me on the sofa. The drug was taking effect. I mumbled a response, and the next thing I knew, I felt something was amiss. I looked down. Morong Shu's face was flushed, her eyes sparkling like pools of water. Just as I realized I was in deep trouble, she leaned over and pressed against me. "Honey, you just promised me and our daughter you wouldn't lie to a child. Would you?" she said in a teasing voice. The next morning, I slowly opened my eyes, feeling completely drained. My memories of the night before were hazy, only remembering being with her until very late. Suddenly, a small voice came from beside me. "Daddy, the sun's already up. Why are you still sleeping?" Goonie knew, dressed in a pink princess dress and wearing a cute little yellow duck headband, was sitting on the edge of the bed, quietly watching me. Then Muron walked in. "You slept for so long, honey. I've warmed up your breakfast." Looking at this heartwarming scene, I suddenly felt that things weren't so bad after all. "I'm so tired." Mungwe crawled onto the bed, her pink dress barely covering her thighs, revealing her slender, delicate legs. Her small, translucent feet were clad in pale, white cartoon socks, a style her daughter had picked out, matching the ones they both wore. "Change into your pajamas first," I said, walking over with her pajamas, extending them toward her. "Here's yours." "No." Mungwe shook her head, pointing at the shirt in my other hand. "I want to wear this, my shirt." I was speechless. Mungwe nodded against my chest like a lazy kitten. Seeing her snuggle against me, refusing to move, I knew what to do. I helped her into my shirt, carefully adjusting the collar and cuffs. "Now, can we go wash up?" I looked dotingly at the petite woman sitting on the bed, scooping her up in a princess carry. Mungwe remained motionless against my chest. I don't want to brush my teeth. The little woman in my arms was starting to act unreasonable again. "You'll get cavities," the sentence trailed off.